let's move ahead now to the Niagara Falls, Niagara-On-The-Lake Riding. It was a closer race there with incumbent Tony Baldinelli taking 49.3% of the votes, with Liberal candidate Andrea Kaiser coming in second with 44.7%. The polls were predicting that was going to be a close race. This was a third attempt for Andrea. What do you think of her future plans, and, will she try again, do you think?
I don't think there should be a cap. I think that a lot of males in this area have tried and failed. We know that some have, 7 times been defeated, and someone like Wayne Gates that has that happen, and now he's been an incumbent for so many years. And so I don't think that all of a sudden with a female lens that people should say, 2 and you're done, or 3 and you're done. She's a sitting councillor, and she represents our area really respectfully and well. And I think that when you're looking at these stats, it is a close race. But Tony, again, as an incumbent, he's been in this position since 2019. And before that, with Rob Nicholson, and that he was working with him. Mm-hmm. And everyone in the area knows Tony, and he fights for us really well. And so, I respect everyone here within our riding, and so kudos to everybody involved. And also Shannon Mitchell, she did a great job. She's usually in with Wayne Gates in his party, and so she's got that experience. And so I don't think that anyone that put their name forward should feel bad about what kind of happened in this election. It was a hard-fought race, and everyone came out ahead. I didn't see really a lot of that negative rhetoric that we see a lot of times, which I'm happy that we didn't. Usually that's kind of the conversation that we would be having if there's a lot of, mudslinging and things like that. But mostly everyone was really worried about our sovereignty and how do we protect it this time around.
And I don't think people really understand what goes into being a candidate.
Absolutely.
And running, and the amount of hours and the amount of prep. And all of that is done on their own time.
Absolutely, and you really are assembling your own team. Federally, if the party is in place, you'll get funds that it's usually more helpful, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
to get and be able to get volunteers. But just coming off the provincial race, you have to think all those people were really helping out in those other campaigns, or even the Liberal leadership that just happened. So people are ready for the elections to be over and kind of move forward. And I think that's why so many people are worried that this is a minority government and the way that it's shaking out with the seats and what's going to happen next, because I think we have election fatigue.
Yes, and I know you've spoken about that before. I think there's going to be a lot of Canadians who have a lot of opinions about this election and may be happy that it is a minority, while others will be happy it's a majority. But what do you see playing out now for those that are sitting back and saying, we wanted change, we didn't get change, whereas the flip side is saying we did get change, it's not Trudeau?
Right. I think at this point, the government really has to show that we're coming together. So eliminating all those trade barriers to have one Canadian economy, I think will be huge, and it will be the right step forward. There are some that are posturing even today whether or not there'll be a by-election for the Conservatives, so that way if someone wants to give up their seat for Poilievre, they were saying, in good faith, if Carney will allow that to happen immediately, that would be a show of respect just to allow him to still be leader if he wasn't conceding and stepping down. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be watching for to see what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. It is you. I was watching some of your social media, and you said, this is my Super Bowl. Yeah. I love this time of year. So you won't be the only one watching. Right, so now we're going to move ahead to Lori Taraba. She caught up with MP Baldinelli at Delhi Banquet Hall. Let's go to that interview now.
After campaigning for only a short few weeks, MP Tony Baldinelli retains his seat in the House of Commons for the riding of Niagara Falls, Niagara-On-The-Lake, a job that he was first elected to back in 2019. Congratulations, Tony. You just were re-elected to another term in the House of Commons. How does it feel?
You know what? It's incredible. I'm here with the tremendous volunteers who help make it possible for me. You know what? Over this course of this 37 days, we've been working collectively together, putting our message out to the residents of Niagara Falls and Niagara-on-the-Lake. It was a message of hope, a message of change, talking about affordability issues, the need for people to own a home, addressing issues of crime. So there were issues that we spoke to directly to the people of this riding, and they were, that resonated with them, and they returned me to office, and I'm so honored that they have.
Did you feel that the shortened campaign season was actually a benefit to your campaign this year?
You know what? It's not so much, from my experience, it's been 37 days for all three, so there's no real change in how you approach it. You just have to work hard, ensure that you have great volunteers in place, you've got a great plan in place, and then you work hard and you knock on as many doors as you can to get your message out.
How do you feel to know that your voters feel that you are the one to ensure that Canada does not become the 51st state?
Well, I'm thrilled again. I'm so honored that they have put their faith in me. And you know what? During this campaign, I've been talking to the residents. You know what? I sit on the International Trade Committee, for example. We were already doing a pre-study of the CUSMA agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. What my leader has said is, that deal was set to expire in 2026. Let's look at it now, beginning in 2025. We've sat down. I've heard from the steel producers. I've heard from the Steelworkers Union. I've heard from the motor vehicle manufacturers and the Canadian auto parts manufacturers. So we know what their issues are. So the Americans have issues in terms of trade, but so do we. How do we work together to ensure that we can get a deal that's good to all countries?
How will you help stand up at the House of Commons to ensure that the people of Niagara are heard?
I'm going to continue to advocate on issues such as affordability. I've been a tremendous advocate in the issue of tourism. I worked in the tourism sector for almost 20 years. The grape and wine industry, going back to 2019, the first question I ever asked in the House of Commons dealt with that area. And you know what? The last two election campaigns, I've worked to ensure that we had policy platform ideas to address the issues that faced our wine sector. The elimination of the automatic escalator clause, for example, which would be a benefit to our wineries here. And yet this government refuses to act. I'm going to continue to advocate on those as well.
What words do you have for your constituents that helped to bring you back to Ottawa?
Well, thank you so much. Again, it's the biggest honor of my life to have been elected to be their spokesperson in Ottawa, and my job is to ensure that I don't let them down.
In Niagara Falls, reporting for The Source, I'm Lori Taraba.